things the way things are in what we call nature.
Right.
Then it suddenly occurred to me later that in thinking that way, I was already dividing myself off from nature, and I'd never get out of that problem.
No.
And the thing came to me some years ago with a tremendous flash when I was in Bangkok in a temple garden, and of an early morning I was taking a walk, and my eye was drawn to a globule of dew resting on a lotus leaf, and it was perfectly spherical, and I said, where's the base? How can it be stable? Why doesn't it roll off? By the time I got to the end of my whys, I was worn out, and so I took a deep breath, and I said, now, shut up, and just keep quiet, and look. And I saw that each maintained its own nature in this marvelous harmony without any confusion at all. And I was just still.
Right.
Just still. I think that's something of what you mean about the fact that was a fact. That
just remain with the fact. Look at the fact.
That marvelous globule on that leaf is the fact.
Yeah.
Is what is the act. Is what
Right,
is done.
Right.
Isn't that what?
Right.
Yes.
So from this arises, can one educate a student to live a life of non-comparison? Bigger car, lesser car, you follow?
Mm-hmm.
Dull, you are clever, I am not clever. What happens if I don't compare at all? Will I become dull?
On the contrary.
I am only dull, I know I am dull only through comparison. If I don't compare, I don't know what I am. Then I begin from there.
Yes, yes, yes. The world becomes infinitely accessible.
Oh, then
Yes.
the whole thing becomes extraordinarily different. There is
Yes.
no competition, there is no anxiety, there is no conflict with each other.
This is why you use the word total
Yes, sir.
often, isn't it? In order to express that there's nothing drawn out from one condition to the other. There's no link there. There's no bridge there. Totally disordered. Totally order.
Absolutely.
Yes, and you use the word absolute often, which it terrifies many people today.
So, after all, mathematics is order.
Oh,
The
yes.
highest form of mathematical investigation, you must have a mind that's totally orderly.
The marvelous thing about math, too, is that whereas it's the study of quantity, you don't make passage from one integer to another by 2 getting larger. 2 stops at 2. 2.5 is no more 2. Somehow that's the case.
Yes.
But a child, when he's taught mathematics, is never introduced to that that I've ever heard of.
You see, so our teaching, our everything is so absurd. Is it possible, sir, to observe this movement of disorder with a mind that is disorderly itself, and say, can this mind observe disorder, this mind which is already in a state of disorder? So disorder isn't out there,
No.
but in here. Now, can the mind observe that disorder without introducing a factor of an observer who is orderly?
Who will superimpose?
Yes. Therefore, observe perceived disorder without the perceiver. I don't know
Yes.
if I'm making
Yes,
sense
you
at
are.
all.
Yes, you're making sense.
That is, to understand disorder, we think an orderly mind is necessary.
As over against the disorderly one.
Disorder. But the mind itself has created this disorder, which is thought and all the rest of it. So can the mind not look at disorder out there, but the maker of disorder which is in here?
Which is itself the very mind.
Mind
as
itself is
disordered.
disordered.
Yes. But as soon as that is stated conceptually,
Concepts is finished.
yes,
That's like
but we are using words.
we are using words to communicate.
Exactly. And what I'm concerned with just for a second is, what are we going to say when we hear the statement that it is the disordered mind that keeps proliferating disorder, but it's that disordered mind that must see, that must see.
I'm going to show you that.
That-
You will see
right,
in a minute
yes,
what
right.
takes place.
Yes.
Disorder is not outside of me. Disorder is inside of me. That's a fact. Because the mind is disorderly, all its activities must be disorderly. And the activities of disorder is proliferating or is moving in the world. Now, can this mind observe itself without introducing the factor of an orderly mind, which is the opposite? I don't know.
Yes, it is. The opposite is, of course it's the
So
opposite.
can it observe without the observer, who is the opposite?
That's the question.
Now, watch it, sir, if you are really interested in
I
it.
am. I'm deeply interested in it.
If you will see, the observer is the observed. The observer who says, I am orderly, and I must put order in disorder. Generally what takes place. But the observer is the factor of disorder. Because the observer is the past.